Alright YouTube, in this video what we are going to see is how to create the modern effect. As you can see on the screen, we have a plus sign. When I click on the plus sign, you will see the content gets appeared. The same way when I close it, we see the button is getting rotated and you can see the text over the image. This is created with the help of CSS. We have not used jQuery or JavaScript in this tutorial. We're just going to focus on the CSS3. If you want the source code, you'll get the source code in the description box. Fine, let me show you how do I created it. Just let me give you the summary. We have a checkbox over here. When I click on the checkbox, the div with class toggle gets the box shadow. The box shadow has a property called spread, and this shadow is spreading from the class with class toggle. Fine, this is really simple. We are going to see the HTML and I will show you the CSS from scratch by creating it. Fine, we have a main div which holds all the content of the HTML, which has a class center. The second one, we have input type equal to checkbox, and this toggle plays a huge role on the shadow. And then we have the image simply, and again followed by the image we have the content, which holds one paragraph and one heading. Fine, we don't need to worry about the image box and details. We just have to concentrate on the checkbox and the class toggle. Fine, let me remove all the CSS and start from scratch. Fine, this is how it looks like without CSS. Fine, now the very first thing, I'm going to give the body a background color. We'll go with the generic color yellow. Fine, followed by that we need to remove the default style, that is margin of 0 pixel and padding of 0 pixel. Fine, later we are going for the container div, which is center, which will allow all the content to be on the center of the screen with the help of position, absolute, top of 50%, left of 50%, and transform, translate 50% on x-axis and 50% on y-axis. Both will be negative, and this will allow us the content to be appeared on the center of the screen. Fine, for just a time convenient, let me comment the details and the image so that we can concentrate on the logic of the content. Fine, now we have a center and we are going to give a background color to the center. Let's say red. It will not work unless we give height as 400 pixel and width as 300 pixel, and yes, and later we are going to choose the input field and the class toggle. Choose the input field and class toggle and apply both the element the same CSS as position, absolute, top, we don't need top, we need a bottom of 20 pixel and left of 20 pixel. Right would be convenient. Fine, Now let me give the height and width. Height as 50 pixel and width as 50 pixel. Fine. As you can see, this is a checkbox. Now simply I want the checkbox to get Z index of the top value. You can choose any value, so it is at the top, and when the checkbox is checked, I need the class toggle should get box shadow of 0 pixel horizontal, 0 pixel vertical, 0 pixel blur and 500 pixel spread, and the color should be blue. This should only happen when the class with the this should only happen when the input field is tick. Let's check. Yes, it is working. Now we need to give transition as 0.5 second, and let me hide overflow colon hidden. And you need to make the div and the input field circle. And okay, now let me show you. I don't want this tick to show up. For that I would simply have opacity colon 0. Now the input field will not be visible, but it is active. I'm going to style the class toggle. Let me give the background color as the yellow, and I want it to be round. For that, border radius 50% simply. Fine. Now we want the plus to be on the center. Line height should be equal to the height of the container, and text align center. And if you want, you can increase the font size, and it is highly recommended. Font size as 30 pixel and font weight would be 900. And yes, and now we want it to rotate. For that, transform colon translate, we need rotate as 225 degree, and now it will rotate. And yes, it is rotating. Now let me uncomment the image. And this is working. And now let me uncomment the comment. Let me uncomment the content as well. Now just style the div with the class details, and this detail will have the same position absolute. Top of 0 pixel, left of 0 pixel, and Z index should be greater. Let me give my random value as 90. And yes, there was the error. The error was we had the forward slash by mistake, and you can give any number, and you can see it is on the top. Now we are going to use the same trick. When the input is checked, I want the delay to show up, else it should be hidden. For that, it should show up when it is tick, so it is 1, and by default it should be hidden. And now it is hidden. When I tick, it will show up. If you want, you can give padding as 10 pixel. You're not getting into too much of CSS. You can, if you want, you can give the color as white. Fine. Now I need a small transition. For that, transition 0.5s, and the transition delay as 0.5, the same. The scope of this video is done. Get the source code in the description.